Hello once again, grade 5. Welcome back to the part 2 of our module 8. Kasi po, yung book 1 natin is up to lesson 2 lang. So nahati po yung ating lesson 3. So a portion of lesson 3 is nasa book 1, a portion of module 3 is nasa book 2. So ngayon po, gumawa ko ng dalawang video, yung part 1 tsaka part 2. Ngayon po yung part 2, yung lesson 3. And yung lesson 3 po, the same pa rin, adding and subtracting fraction and mixed fractions. So, for lesson number 3, here's the thing that we will have to discuss. Of course, we will subtract 1/4 from 2 and 2/3. Once again, sa previous video ko, ipinakita ko kung paano mag-divide ng mga fractions, especially dissimilar fractions. These two are dissimilar fractions because they don't have the same denominators. So all we have to do is, we could not just easily copy the common denominators. Hindi nga common yung denominators eh. Hindi pareho yung denominators. So, look for their LCD. Saan po magtatagpo si 3 tsaka si 4. Of course, doing that, magtatagpo si 3 tsaka si 4 sa 12. Now, because we have the new denominators, expect that our numerators will also change. So 12 divided by 3 is 4 times 2, that is equal to 8. 12 divided by 4 is 3 times 1, that is equal to 3. Then copy whole number. Then after that one, because we already have common denominators na 12, just copy 12. Now we can subtract 8 from 3, which is equal, we can subtract 3 from 8, which is equal to 5. Then copy 2, because we don't have a whole number here. So our answer for this activity is 2 and 5/12. For your activity, we will now answer activity number 2 of what's more. Now answer number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 in your notebook. Let's now check your work. In this case, for item number 1, of course, they are dissimilar fractions. So we cannot just easily subtract them. So we will look for their LCD first. Of course, the LCD of 3 and 12 is 12. So 12 divided by 12 is 1 times 7, that is 7. 12 divided by 3, that is equal to 4 times 1, that is 4. So we can now subtract them, copy 12, then 7 minus 4, that is 3. Now check if your fraction is already in the simplest form. Of course, not yet, because both 3 and 12, pwede po silang ma-divide by 3. Their GCF is 3. So that will give us 1/4. So our final answer is 1/4. For item number 2, look for the LCD of 10 and 15. Of course, they will meet at 30. So 30 divided by 15, that is 2 times 2, that is equal to 4. 30 divided by 10, that is 3 times 1, so that is equal to 3. Then copy 36 and copy 5. Now, all we have to do is copy their common denominator, which is 30, and subtract the numerator, which is equal now to 1. So 36 minus 5, that is equal to 31. That's already in the simplest form, and that's not improper, so that's already our final answer. Let's proceed to item number 3 here. For item number 3, of course, they don't have common denominators, so kailangan po maging similar fraction ng dalawang ito eh. So 12, common denominator. So 12 divided by 3, that is equal to 4. That is equal to, that's equal to 4 times 3, that's still 12. Because this is equal to 1, so that would be also equal to 1. Then, of course, 12 divided by 4, that is 3 times 1, that is 3. So we can now subtract them. Copy the common denominator, which is 12. Then subtract 12 and 3, which is equal to 9. Then 6 minus 0, so that is still 6. Now, check your fraction again. That's not yet in the simplest form, divisible by 3. So that will give you 9 divided by 3 is 3. 12 divided by 4 is 12 divided by 3 is 4, I mean, copy 6. So that's already your final answer. And finally, for the last item here, of course, they don't have the same denominator. So look for their LCD, which is equal to 6. 6 divided by 3, that is 2 times 2, that is 4. 6 divided by 2, that is equal to 3. Times 1, that is 3. Then copy 3. So common denominator is 6. Then subtract, that is equal to 1. Then subtract, that is equal to 3. So our final answer is 3 and 1/6. Have you already answered your activity number 1 and activity number 3? What's more on page number 16 of your module 8? If you are done, kindly check your answers using the answer key so that we can proceed to our next lesson, which is lesson number 4. For our lesson number 4, we will try to subtract 3 and 5/6 from 7 and 1/6. Now, here, we have the same denominator 6. However, our fraction here, our diminuend 1, could not be subtracted by 5. So what shall we do then? Because 1/6 is not enough to be subtracted by 5/6. The best thing that you have to do is you will borrow from 7. From this whole number 7, you will borrow 1 to be added to 1/6. Then what will be left is 6. Then, if you notice here, the denominator is 6, so you will also make your 1 as a fraction whose denominator is also 6, so that it would be easier for you to combine later. So, copy 1, and of course, to make this fraction equal to 1, it should have a numerator of 6. Pag pareho po yung numerator at denominator, that is equal to 1. So here, this is now equal to 1. That's your 1. And here's your 1/6. So we could combine them now, so that will give you 7/6. Then you just copy the 6 here. So 6 and 7/6 is also equal to 7 and 1/6. Why did we do that? So that we could subtract 3 and 5/6 from that number. Kasi naman, hindi naman pwedeng i-subtract si 5 sa 1. So nag-borrow po tayo, kaya nagiging 7/6 na po siya. So this is now enough to be subtracted by 5, which is, copy the common denominator 6, then subtract the numerator 2. Then after that 1, you subtract also the whole number 6 and 3, so that will give you 3. Now, always check if your fraction is in simplest form. In this case, it's not in the simplest form because they still have a GCF of 2. So, if you will divide that, so 2 divided by 2 is 1, 6 divided by 2 is 3. So, the final answer is 3 and 1/3. Let us now answer your What's More activity on page 21 of your Module 8. That's lesson number 4. So, we have here 4 items. So, I want you to pause this video and answer your activity. Let us now check your work. So here, in this case, there is no fraction here to be subtracted by 2/5. Wala po tayong fraction dito na pwedeng mabawasan ng 2/5. So gagawa po tayo ng fraction. Paano natin gagawin yan? Of course, we will borrow 1 from 8, and this 1 is enough to be subtracted by 2/5. So, because we borrowed 1, syempre 7 na lang yung matitira sa 8. So, of course, yung 1 na ito, gagawin natin fraction. So, dapat pareho silang denominator na 5 para hindi na tayo kukuha pa ng least common denominator. So, magiging 5/5 yan kasi a fraction whose numerator and denominators are equal, so that is equal to 1. Now, you copy 7. Yan po yung 8. Nag-transform po si 8 sa 7 and 5/5. Para pwede natin kuna ng subtract ng 4 and 2/5. Again, yung 8, walang fraction, so we borrowed 1. Yung 1, ginawang fraction, nagiging 5/5. Andyan yung 7. So 7 plus 5/5, which is equal to 1, that is equal to 8. Now, the next thing that we have to do is, pwede na natin i-subtract. So copy the common denominator and subtract yung numerator. So, subtract also the whole number next. So that is 3 and 3/5. Let us now proceed to item number 2. For item number 2, because they don't have the same denominator here, so we will look for their common denominator first. So this is 4 and this is 8. So their common denominator is 8. Now 8 divided by 4 is 2 times 3, that is 6. Now 8 divided by 8 is 1 times 7, that is 7. Copy 14 and copy 12 as your whole numbers. Okay? Just always copy the whole numbers. Next po, yung 7/8 is too big para kukunin natin sa 6/8. That's not enough. So we will borrow here from the whole number 14. We will borrow 1 para madagdag natin sa 6/8. Okay? Kasi yung 6/8 is hindi enough para kukunan natin ng 7/8. So in this case, we borrowed 1 para i-add natin sa 6/8. So, kaya 13 na lang natira sa 14. So, this is your 14 and this is your 6/8. In that case, again, yung 1, dapat yung denominator niya is 8 din. Yung 1. Para ma-add natin sa 6/8 na ito. So, ito yung 6/8. So, yung 1, gagawin natin 8/8. Okay? Then 13. So, ano mangyayari? So, that will give us 13. If we will combine them, copy the common denominator 8, and 8 plus 6 is equal to 14. So, 13 and 14/8, pwede na natin kunan ng 12 and 7/8. So, with that, 14 minus 7 is 7. Copy the denominator 8, then subtract the whole numbers. So, the correct answer is 1 and 7/8 po. Let's proceed to item number 3. Of course, they don't have the same denominator then. So we have to look for their common denominator. And I believe that their common denominator is 9. So 9 divided by 9 is 1 times 4, that is 4. Copy the whole number 17. 9 divided by 3, that is equal to 3 times 2, so that will give you 6. Okay? So, copy 12. Okay? In this case, mas malaki po yung 6 nines sa 7 o sa 4 nines. So, hindi naman natin masubtract. So, magbabaro naman tayo sa 17 ng isa para i-add natin sa 4 nines. Tapos, 16 na lang po matitira sa 17 kasi nagbaro tayo ng isa. So, in that case, ano pong mangyayari? So, yung 4 nines po, dadagdagan natin yung 1, gagawin natin 9 nines. And of course, add natin yung 16. Okay? So, yung 9 nines na to, at saka 4 nines will become 13 nines. You add and copy. Then, 16 and 13 nines, this is enough na para i-minus natin yung 12 and 6 nines. So, copy the common denominator 9, then 13 minus 6, that is 7, then 16 minus 12, that is equal to 4. So the correct answer is 4 and 7 ninths. Okay, let's proceed to the last item. Of course, they don't have the same denominator, so look for the common denominator, which is 4. 4 divided by 4 times 1, that is still 1. 4 divided by 2, that is 2 times 1, that is 2. Then copy 1 and copy 2. Then after that one, this is not enough to be subtracted by 2/4. Hindi po kasya. So we will borrow 1 from here para i-add po natin sa 1/4. So 1 na lang matitira. So in that case, ang 1 na to gagawin natin 4/4. That is equal to 1. Is 1. Tapos copy yung 1/4, tapos copy din yung 1. So 1, and this is also 1, yung 4/4, and this is 1/4. Okay? So that will give you 1 and 5/4. Ngayon, pwede na natin i-subtract yung 1 and 2/4. So, the final answer for that is, 5 minus 2, that is equal to 3, copy 4, then 1 minus 1 is 0, so the final answer is 3/4. We will now proceed to the last activity before you will answer your assessment. I want you to pause this video and answer activity number 2, what's more. Let us now answer your activity. And of course, our activity here, you are asked to subtract. And let us be very careful because sometimes hindi kasya yung kinukuha natin sa number na pinagkukunan natin. So we really have to borrow or to regroup the numbers. So in this case, we do have 3 and 1/4 minus 2 and 5/8. Because they don't have the same denominators, kailangan po natin gawin silang similar fractions. So look for their LCD, and I believe that's 8. So 8 divided by 4, that is equal to 2 times 1, that's 2. 8 divided by 8, that is equal to 1 times 5, that is equal to 5. Copy 3, your whole number, and copy 2, your whole number. Then after that one, the next thing that we have to do is subtract 5/8 from 2/8. In this case, 2/8 is not enough to be subtracted by 5/8. So you will borrow from 1 to be added to 2/8. Then what will be left here is 2. So your 2 here, you just copy. Then your 1, you have to change that to 8/8. Because any fraction as numerator and denominator are the same, so that is equal to 1. And why did they choose 8? And why did they choose 8 as my denominator and make it 8/8 as 1? Because the denominator here is also 8. So it would be easier for me to combine these two, which will give me 10/8. I will just copy 8 and add a numerator, then 2. Okay? So that is 2 and 8, 2 and 10/8. Then I will now subtract 2 and 5/8 here. So what will happen is 10 minus 5 is 5. Copy the denominator 8. Then 2 minus 2 is 0. So your final answer is 5/8 for the item number 1. Let's proceed to item number 2. Of course, they don't have the same denominator. Oh, no. They already have the same denominator. However, 1/4 is not enough to be subtracted by 3/4. So you will borrow 1 from these two. So what will be left is 1. Then you add 1/4. So 1, then your 1, change it to 4/4. Para mas madali i-add sa 1/4, pagkat meron sa parehong denominator. Then after that one, this will become 1 and 5/4. To be subtracted by 1 and 3/4. So, we will start with the fraction first. Copy the common denominator 4. 5 minus 3 is 2. Then, 1 minus 1 is 0. So, 2/4. However, this is not yet in its simplest form because both could still be divided by 2. So, 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So, our final answer is 1/2. Let's proceed to item number 3. Good that we have the same denominators here. So it would be easier for us to tell that 1/5 is not enough to be subtracted by 2/5. So again, you will borrow 1 from 3. So what will be left is 2. Then this one will be added to 1/5. Now, copy 2. Then your 1 will become 5/5 so that it will be easier to be added to 1/5. In that case, we already have uh, 5 is our denominator. So add the numerator 6, then our whole number 2. Then we can now subtract this 2 minus 2 and 2 fifths. So copy the common denominator 5, then subtract the numerators. 6 minus 2 is 4. Then 2 minus 2 is 0. This is already in the simplest form, so that's our answer. Let us now proceed to item number 4. In this item number 4, because they don't have the same denominators, we will have to look for their common denominator first. Of course, the common denominator of 1 half or 2 and 1/4 here, 4, that is equal to 4. So 4 divided by 2 is 2 times 1, that is equal to 2. 4 divided by 4 is 1 times 1, that is equal to 1. Copy 9 and copy 5. And of course, this one now, we could easily subtract this 9 and 2/4 and 5 and 1/4 because 2/4 here is big enough to be subtracted by 1/4. So copy the common denominator 4, then 2 minus 1 is equal to 1. Then subtract whole numbers 9 minus 5, which is equal to 4. So our answer is 4 and 1/4. And finally, for item number 5 here, because 2 6 cannot be subtracted by 5 6 in 1 and 5 6. So we borrow 1 from 3 to be added to 2 6. So copy 2, then this one will be changed to 6 6. So that we could add that to 6. So what will happen here is 2 and 8, 6 this time. We cannot subtract 1 and 5, 6 from it. And copy the common denominator 6. So 8 minus 5 is 3. Then 2 minus 1 is 1. However, this 3 6 is not yet in the simplest form because both the numerator and denominator can be divided by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. And 6 divided by 3 is 2. Then copy 1. So our final answer is 1 and 1/2. That will be all our activity for lesson number 1 up to lesson number 5 in adding and subtracting fractions and mixed fractions. So I think this time you are now very ready for your assessment. I want you to answer your assessment in a 1-whole sheet of pad paper. Thank you so much for joining me.
And for your assessment for module number 8, addition and subtraction of fractions and mixed fractions. Letter A, subtract the fraction in column A, then match with their correct answers in column B. Write only the letter of your correct answer on your answer sheet. For letter B, add these fractions, reduce the sum to the lowest term when needed. You have 10 items for your Module 8 Mathematics 5 first quarter. Thank you and enjoy your day.